So now it's time for demonstration. I think we'll start with Mendeley based on the votes. So these are both softwares. I think you can clearly see all my screen, right? So this is Mendeley Reference Manager that I just showed you, and this is Zotero. We'll start with Mendeley. Can you please confirm if Mendeley screen is visible to everyone?
Yeah, it's clear.
Okay, so once you open Mendeley Reference Manager, it might not look like this. It might show you a login page, and this login page is where you have to log in with the account that you just created or with your Elsevier account. So even though I'm using Mac, if you're using Windows, it should look quite similar, maybe with very slight few differences, but the idea is same. So just a quick walkthrough through the software. On the left here, you have this add new button, right? And this allows you to do three things. Files from computer, which I mentioned in my presentation, which is basically if you have a PDF downloaded, you can actually add references manually, and we will see how to do that. And finally, you can import a library. And as you can clearly see here, there are several extensions for the libraries. And this is important because we will see at the end of this workshop how to maybe like move a library from Zotero to Mendeley or vice versa. So you need to take care that you are using these extensions, right? This allows you to see all the recently added references. These are some of the references that I just added, as you can see before the workshop, as just a quick trial. This shows you some of the recently read publications because, references, because this green button shows you that if you have a read references or not read. So as you can see, out of the 5, I've already maybe clicked on these 2, so it shows me that I've already read these software as these references. These are the favorites because if I go here to the reference and maybe click on this star, this will show as one of my favorites. So you can just favorite few publications or books as you wish. This is your own publication. You can maybe connect it with your Scopus profile. These are the duplicates. So sometimes, and I will show you when we add maybe 2 references, you maybe by mistake tend to add a reference more than once. So this will also show the duplicates in your library. And this is the trash. Obviously, these are some of the references that I have just added and deleted for the sake of, making the page look more clean. But anyways, once you delete any reference, it goes to the trash. These are the collections, and we will talk about them. But in simple terms, this allows you to create different maybe collections for your publications, as I said earlier, for your conferences. And this is groups, which mainly tends to be for your maybe a lab group or research group, where you can maybe create a group and add few publications in it and share those publications with your group, including, of course, your supervisor. This is a search tab here on the top, where you can search the reference by maybe its author name, or maybe even with the title of the paper. And this is a filtering tool, which of course detects all the author names automatically. So if you are maybe familiar with the author names, and as a writer, you probably will know the famous authors, so you can maybe filter the authors at the library based on the author names. The tags also is very important. So we will see how to add tags for each reference, and based on those tags, you can filter. So let's first see how to maybe create this library. So we'll explore the 3 options. So here on the left, I'll go back to add new and then go to files from computer. And hopefully you can see my screen here. You can see my screen, right? The small one?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, so we have this, I created a folder called workshop. I downloaded this prior to the workshop. This is just a journal PDF. And then I'll just click open. So it will automatically add it here. As you can see, this is the latest one. So once I add the reference, you can read or maybe get the PDF. Obviously, you already have the PDF. And you can see all the authors' profiles, the journal titles. You can even see more information if you want. Obviously, the abstract. And these are some of the identifiers that you can actually use in the other way that I will just talk about. So this is one of the ways that to add the reference. The second way here is to add manually, as I mentioned, which I totally not recommend. But when you add manually here in Mendeley, there are two options: either to add everything like manually with choosing maybe the journal article or even the book. These are the two most common references that we usually use, but also maybe a conference proceeding, a thesis. These are the ones that we mostly see. So you can choose that, write the title, the author name, the journal, the year, volume, etc. Obviously, I will not fill all this information for time's sake, but I don't recommend this unless of two things happening. The first thing is not finding a way to catch the reference, or maybe it's too old to catch it using the magnet that we will see. But if you wish to do so, please make sure that you are writing the correct information. Here in Mendeley, you can also, in the manual tab, you can add the identifier. So I'll just go quickly to Google Chrome, okay, and go to any, maybe cancer, to any article, okay. So this is the review article. I just need any identifier here. Okay, we can try the title. Okay, this is causing me trouble in copying, so it might not work very well. Let's try a web format of this. I think it should come here. Yes. So this is clearly having a clear identifier. Maybe the previous one did not have. So you can maybe take the DOI or just copy the link. Okay, and go back to Mendeley and just paste the identifier and search. So should automatically, it says metadata found. It automatically, as you can see, filled the information that it found. Obviously, might not fill everything, but it will fill the information that is important enough for you to add the reference. And as you can see, we quickly added references maybe in less than 15 seconds. So this is one of the other ways to add the reference. We can also try another one. So for the first one that we just saw, if you maybe encounter this issue, because as I mentioned in the presentation, these are softwares that might have some limitations, or even the articles might be some like a bit old. So if I were you and I faced this issue by maybe not finding a clear identifier or a DOI, can just download the PDF and add it in using the first way that I just showed you. So it should not be an issue. But you just need maybe a PubMed. This is also another, sorry. Okay. PubMed has its own identifier, so we can also try that. Yeah, so we can use the PubMed ID. We can see if this works or not. Add new, add entry manually. So you have to be careful because we will see in Zotero that adding using the identifier has a specific tab, but for Mendeley, the identifier is in the manual tab. I'll just paste this and let's see if the software is able to detect it. It detected it using the PubMed ID. So you can do it using the DOI or the PubMed ID. As you can see here, maybe this one detected the abstract. I noticed that the previous one did not detect the abstract. For adding it in your papers or your thesis, abstract might not be that important, but as I told you, it depends on the software and how it will read maybe the specific reference. So this is another way of adding it. The last way is importing library, and maybe I will talk to it about it later on because I want to maybe talk about both softwares, then I'll talk about the libraries. Let's now go back to Google Chrome and see if the software can detect using the magnet, which is the last way that is pending for us. So sorry. So I'll just use this one. So I have already downloaded the Mendeley site and I added the importer here in the Google Chrome. Okay, so just I'll click on it. Yeah, I think I need to refresh the page. This is just a second. I need to move this around. Yeah. So once I refresh the page, this importer is working. As you can see, I am logged in with my account. And this is one of the beautiful things I love about Mendeley. So it not only detected the tumor microenvironment, which is the title of the paper or the review article that we want to add, but it also detected some of the references in this paper. So I can easily just click on this paper and also maybe few others, right? And then just click add to Mendeley. Again, for the first time, if you're using this, you would need to log in using the Elsevier account, but then it will automatically detect itself. And if it doesn't work for the first time, just please refresh the page. Sometimes it just needs a refresh for it to work. It will take just, I think, few seconds. I think it's still adding them. That's weird. Yeah, I think now it has been added. So as you can see here, let me just yeah, I think it has been added, but for some reason. Let's try another one. Immune regulation of the metastasis. Okay. I think I just need to update the library here. Yeah, so it seems like it has added the reference, but not the other ones that I chose. I'm not sure why. Just a second, please. So what I will do now is delete all of them just to see if they were added successfully or not. So here you can select all the references and delete them. So I'll just select maybe some of the references. Add to Mendeley. Yeah, so it has been added. Maybe I was just confused with the author names or the paper title. So we had a clean page, and as you can see, once I just chose the paper and its references, it had been added quickly. Please note that some of the papers will have their PDF and you can maybe view, but some of them will not have the PDF. So please take care if the paper is open access or not. So these are the different ways of adding the reference as we showed here from the PDF, or using the identifier, or even using the magnet. Some of the other tools is the collections. And for the collections, you can just click here on the word collection and maybe name it pop. Before I go on, is everyone following how to add the references? Was it clear? So we tackled it from different ways. I hope everyone is following and I'm not going too fast. Okay, the chat says clear. That's good. Okay, so now we can just go for the collections. I need to, yeah. Maybe name it publication 1. Just click enter. Publication 2. Conference, right? So we have different collections now, and we have libraries. Let's say I want to maybe restore some of the references that I just deleted. So maybe I can go in the chat here, choose some of the references also to make the library maybe a little bit bigger. And we can, as you can see, it can easily restore as well as delete permanently. So you have to be careful, because once you delete permanently, it goes away. And let's say I want the first 3 references in my publication 1. So once I select them, you can see here that maybe you can mark as read or export or even organize. So using organize, you can add in the collection and maybe go to publication 1. Right? So it will not go from this list, but it will show in this list, right? So this is maybe the main central list that has all your references. And as you can see, we have added maybe the first few references here. You can go back here and maybe choose some other references and go and maybe add them in publication 2, and so on. So this is how you can maybe add different collections if you're working on different topics. Organize, add collection, publication 2, right? Okay, the software is okay. So it's kind of stuck for some reason. Maybe it needs just a restart. I don't think we're going to face these issues with Zotero. I'm a little bit biased towards it because this is the software that I mainly use, but you will see that some of the things are really, common between them. So okay, so add to collection, publication 2. Yeah. So as you can see, it has worked. We have now some papers for 1, some papers for 2. And for the groups, it's basically the same. Let's say lab, right? So I have created, sorry, that was 2. So you can basically share a few papers with your supervisor if he's using the same software. So organize, just put it in the group and maybe move it to lab and then add it, and it will go there. And then you can maybe manage group from the 3 dots on the right. and just maybe invite some lab members using their emails and share. So as I said, also, if you double click on any software, you can maybe put some annotations, some general notes if you want to write, also and even a notebook if you want to create some notes that maybe specific for some paper. But I think this is not what everyone is looking for. The next one is what is really important, which is the Microsoft Word. So we will go now to Microsoft Word and see if we can add the references inside the Microsoft Word, right? So maybe this is a paragraph, right? And I want to maybe add some of the citations to this sentence. So in Mendeley, you have to go to the References tab and then just go to Mendeley Cite, which is the plugin. So please note that if you don't download it, you will not be able to see this. It will take just a few seconds to load. And it will show you all the references that you have just added, which is something that we are looking for. So let's say that this is a paragraph is from these 3 references. The references will show here. If you clicked on any reference by mistake, you can maybe click on this X to remove it. Okay. Before you click add citations, the citation style is very important. So you can maybe go to the citation settings. Here, this is one of the most common citation styles, which is the APA 7th edition. And I'll quickly maybe talk about CGS requirements at the end of the workshop. So this is the latest one. You can click on maybe change style and choose one of the presets, which is IEEE Vancouver. This is not accepted by CGS, which is the 6th edition, because there is a newer one, the nature, and so on. And also you can change the citation language. And this is a preview of how the bibliography will look like. So once I click insert citation, this is obviously how the APA style looks like. GU is the last name of the first author. Et al means and others, and then the year, right? So let's say we are at the end of our maybe thesis and we have the references section. So we want to add the bibliography, right? So you can just go to insert bibliography from these 3 buttons here and just insert bibliography. It will tell you that it will be inserted in the location that you have your cursor on. You can just click continue. And as you can see, the 2 references that we have just added have been added to the bibliography. And you can later on maybe update as you can add. So maybe this is another one. Let's say I want to add this reference now. As you can see, once I added this one, it has been updated, but I just want to maybe add outside this one. So this is another one. Yeah, so now it should work fine. Yeah. So please make sure that when you update, it's outside this blue cover, so it doesn't, remove the ones that you have added. So here I have added maybe 3 different references. As you can see, one of them maybe is duplicated. So it has already detected that it's A and B, which is also something really important for the automatic citations, because if you are doing it manually, it will definitely cause you a lot of trouble. So this is how to add your citation and bibliography. I think we have covered all the important aspects in Mendeley. And maybe I'll just take any questions about Mendeley before we move on to Zotero, which, by the way, is a really nice way to also confirm the things that we have just applied here in Zotero. So I recommend that even if you were only interested in Mendeley, to attend the second part, because it will kind of stress on all the things, the ways to add the references, how to add the citation, the bibliography, how to organize your references, and so on. So any questions, Mouaz?
There's a question from. Okay. Go ahead, please. Wa alaikum salam.
Okay. I have a question regarding the duplicate. If I want to delete the duplicate, I have to delete one by one. I used to use Mendeley, and I am facing an issue with the duplicate. If I have more than one item to duplicate, I have to delete it one by one. Before it have the select all, but now it doesn't have this option. I don't know if you can help me.
Yeah, I can hear you. You mean the duplicates here?
Yes, here. Now, if you have more than, and for example, if I have 4 or 5 duplicated, I have to delete them one by one. I cannot make a select all and delete all of them one time.
I understood your question. So maybe you're looking for something like this to select all the duplicates, right?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, I believe this has been removed in the last update. So this is maybe something
Yes.
from the software, yeah. But yeah, unfortunately, you would have to remove it manually. But I mean, this should not be an issue. You can just, you know, keep them. It should not affect your library, main library. So unfortunately, I believe Mendeley has updated their software. It wasn't called Reference Manager. It had like an update very recently. So maybe this has been removed from the update, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, thank you. Okay, I think we don't have any more questions, or do we?
Yeah, we have someone. Yanwar.
Yes, I would like.
Yeah, thank you, sir. My name is Yanwar. So if I want to cite more than one article,
Yes.
I try to my Microsoft Word, Mendeley. If I want to try, let's say I have 3 articles and the situation is like this in IEEE format. So in several papers, the correct format or the mandatory format should be like this in the chat box. Can I change the style, sir, for the automatic Mendeley in Microsoft Word from the upper one to the down in the below one, something like that, sir?
Okay, so if I understood your question, you're saying that IEEE you can write maybe in the top style and you want to change it to the second one?
Yeah, correct. Because if I click on the Microsoft Word, it says in the upper one, but the mandatory for the article is will be the below one.
Okay, so let's try changing to the IEEE and see how the preset will look like. Because I think it's a preset, but at the same time you can change it. So let's just change the style here to IEEE. I think you can add custom style, but just let's see how it will look in the normal one. Let's say I want to add another reference here. So we have 4 references now. Yeah, you want to change this to other way, right?
The other way. The bracket is outside the strip, something like that.
Yes, so I have to be honest, I haven't tried it, but we can maybe look at change citation and add a custom style. Okay, so it will only require this.
So usually I just manually type to the up below one, but will it become a problem, sir?
It shouldn't be a problem, but what we recommend is what the because to be honest, like I think the IEEE or the APA will only have one way of writing them, so it should not be this or this. But I mean, if you were asked specifically to change it, that should be fine, unless like maybe your supervisor is requiring a way over the other. But I'm just trying to maybe allow you to change these things here, but it doesn't allow maybe to edit. I think it is there in Zotero. So in Zotero, maybe you can change a little bit, play around with the preset, but I think this one is. But why do you want to change it? Is it something the supervisor requires?
No, not my supervisor. Usually I apply to a article to a journal, and the journal inquire me to change the style of the citation, something like that, sir.
But it's like, is it requiring IEEE or maybe another style?
Using the IEEE, I mean the one that require me is the journal that I want to apply. The reviewer or the editor want me to change from the upper one to the below one.
Okay, so he's requiring, yeah, let me just visit back how it looks like. So you want all of them in one bracket. Yeah. To be honest, I'm not sure how to edit in the preset, so I'm sorry about that, but maybe I could check it out and maybe we can inform you about it. So maybe if you could email me after the workshop, I'll let you know if there is a way. To be honest, I am not aware of how to maybe change it in one bracket automatically, so I'm sorry about that.
Okay, sir. Usually I just type it manually, something like that.
Yeah, manually could work, of course, but it will cause you a lot of trouble if you're having, a big list of references. So yeah.
Okay.
So I'll just stop here to move to Zotero just for the time, and we'll also have, oops, I just stopped the screen share. We'll also have some times for the questions. Yeah, so we'll quit the Mendeley and move to Zotero.
Excuse me.
Okay, so Zotero is looking very similar to Mendeley in so many things. So first of all, adding the references, of course, on the right here, you'll also have your library, the collections that we just saw in Mendeley, as I have already created maybe once before the workshop for you. So maybe the publication 1, publication 2, where you can add the specific articles to them, or also the libraries that have been previously created. So to add a new collection on Zotero, you can just click on the yellow icon on the left and just maybe name it new collection or whatever name you like, right? So this is just to add a new collection for this workshop to start on a clean new page. So now for the adding the references, it's exactly the same ways. You can click here, you can add manually. This is the green, and as I mentioned earlier, the manual option here is separated. So this is kind of less confusing for anyone. So that's a journal article, for example, and you can add all the specific information that the article might need. But again, for us, we don't really recommend this. So to delete any reference, you can just right-click and move the item to bin, right? Okay, so the other way here is using an identifier. So once you click on that, it will allow you to use any DOI or PubMed ID or ISBNs. So maybe just let's go back. Choose the PubMed ID that we were talking about. And just paste it here. As you can see, it detected the software, the reference. And if you click on this arrow, it can show you if it has also detected a PDF. Unfortunately, this was not detecting a PDF. So let's also try a DOI. I think this one had a DOI, right? Okay. Yeah, so it has also detected the epigenomics of cancer. As you can see here, this one has detected a PDF. So this is the way to use the identifier. Okay. I just want to remove this one from the top here. For some reason, it's, yeah. That's better. So another one is, this is just to add any notes about the papers. I think this one is for the links. If you want to add any new link, I just, yeah. So for the PDFs, you just have to go to File, New Item, sorry, Import. oops, that's yeah. The PDF was here. I'm sorry about that. To be honest, I'm not used to adding the PDF, so I think it was here, but there is another quick way to add the PDF, so I'll just show you. You can just go to your file that you have the PDF on. Okay. And just drag it. This is one of the ways that you can do this. So this will allow you also to detect the PDF directly from your software. This is a drag and drop. The option should be here, but I'm not able to find, I'm sorry, but you can just drag and drop the PDF. So we have also added manually, we have identified using the identifier and also using the PDF. Obviously, since we have added this PDF, so it also detects the full text. So let's say that we want to also read the PDF from the software. You can do that. I doubt that anyone wants to maybe use the software for reading the PDF because you probably use a printout or maybe read it on the Adobe PDF. But this and Mendeley will have a lot of options where you can maybe annotate on the PDF itself and maybe go back to these annotations later on, right? Okay, so now we can just use the last one, which is the Zotero connector. So I'll just go to Google Chrome. Maybe we can use a different one. I just want an open access like this one. So maybe, yes. This is a full article, so it should detect it easily. We can maybe click here. So yeah, so the Zotero will look like this. Just after you download the software, please don't forget to download the Zotero connector. Once you download the Zotero connector, it should appear just right beside the Mendeley if you're using Google Chrome. And once you click on Zotero library, it should detect the article that you want to add or the book or the maybe even the online link. This is a little bit, if I can say, simpler than Mendeley, because if you remember, Mendeley had a big window, but it will also allow you to change maybe if you're saving to publication 1, publication 2, or even your library. As you can see, it has already detected the PDF quickly here. So what we can do is just go back to our library and see it detected DNA hypomethylation. The beautiful thing is that it will highlight this for you. So if you have a big library, it will show you that you have already added it. Maybe it doesn't show the exact time that you have added it, but in the column, but it will show you using the highlight. Just a little bit note here. You have to have the Zotero software open for you to extract or maybe download it using the magnet. So if I had the Zotero software closed, and if I were maybe to repeat this, it will probably ask me to open the Zotero first. So this is just something that maybe you need to note. As you can see here, it asked me if Zotero is running. So you can just maybe go back. So this is one of the drawbacks that you have to note in Zotero. As we can see here, once I opened Zotero, it already worked quickly, directly detected, but of course, maybe not the full PDF because it's maybe a non-open access article. So now let's move back to Word and insert maybe some of the articles or the books and see how to change the style. Maybe I'll just a new document. So first of all, this is back here. Okay. Yeah. So first of all, Zotero will have its own tab in the Word compared to Mendeley, which is in the references tab here. So you can maybe write this is test. Okay, and I want to maybe add citation. I hope you can see this. This is very important. This is where you can choose the style. So for example, let's use the APA 7th edition. I will also try the the IEEE for our friend who asked about it. Maybe it doesn't have the issue here in Zotero. So it will show you this tab, and maybe I can just type anything, any letters of the author name, or maybe the title of the paper or the journal, and it will show me all the list here, so I can just easily choose what I want. If you want to add maybe another one, I can just maybe add this one, right? And I click enter, and it will automatically come up here. This is another one. So we can just add citation. This time it will not ask you for the style. So okay, so this is how to add the references. And to make sure that you have successfully added, maybe you can just go through the reference. It will be highlighted in gray compared to Mendeley, where it was, highlighted using the blue borders, right? So now let's say that we are in our references section. Can just, again, using the Zotero tab, we can just go to add bibliography. It takes just some time. This is taking more than usual, I'm sorry. Oops. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. That's odd. Maybe I just have to quit it. Yeah. So we'll just quickly choose the style. Yeah, so it has worked now. Probably that was just a software error. So once you click on adding the citation, it will show like this. Compared to Mendeley, this is maybe a less organized bibliography. So you might want to just quickly, and here where the crossover comes from the other workshop, you just maybe need to format it a little bit. As you can see, the line spacing was not the best. So you can just maybe decrease the line spacing a little bit, and just, of course, make sure that you're using the correct font. So this is how to add the bibliography in the Zotero, but I just want to change the style. And to change the style, you have to go to document preferences, as I did, and try the IEEE. Let's see how it will look like, right? But maybe for this one, I would add another few more references. So I hope everyone is following. Yeah, so unfortunately, it seems like it's the same problem where the dash is coming outside the brackets. But I remember seeing that you can change the style. So maybe by managing styles. Yeah, I think it's okay, so we don't want to waste time on this. Probably I'll try it some other time, but this is how to add the references using different styles. You can also get additional styles if you want, but I highly doubt that maybe someone will be using a style outside all these options. Probably for CGS, what we usually mostly see is the APA style 7th edition and the IEEE. So now the last important thing, which is the libraries. So I'll just quit the Word now, and I'll show you how to maybe export a library and move it from one software to another. So let's say I want to export the library from Zotero to Mendeley, since most of you guys were interested in Mendeley more than Zotero. So this is a library that I have just created, or let's say maybe I have added few publication here, right? So I want to just file, export library. If you remember, I showed you in Mendeley that it asked you for some specific formats. So here in Zotero, you can see that all these formats are available for you to export your library in. I think the bibliotex was accepted by the Mendeley. I'll just click OK, and it will ask me maybe where to put it. So I'll just put it here in the workshop. Maybe I'll name it my library 1. Yeah. So I have just exported my library. If we go to the workshop, you will see, like yesterday, I tried it also. So this, my library here has been exported, and also my library 1. This has a couple of references. This has a couple of references. So now when we go back to Mendeley, we can just easily import the library from one to another. Right, so we can add here new and import library. This is the option I was telling you about. And maybe use the bibtex, which is the .bib, and it can show you all the libraries that has exported using Zotero. I think you can do the other way around. So let's just try this out. It will take some time because the other library has a lot of references. And as you can see, my library has been updated very quickly. So this is just in the case if you want to change the softwares, or even if you're using some other software and you have your libraries in. Obviously, another way to quickly add your references is the PDF. If you have it in a folder, as I showed you here, or in Zotero, you can just quickly with one click maybe add 50 references all together in the library. If you want, we can maybe try out also this one, doing it the other way around. So let's say I want to export these as a separate library. File, export all. Again, it allows you to export in the bibtex, which is maybe the most common. We'll just name it something else. And save it. Yeah, so file, import. I think this is the format that we have just extracted. So you can just click continue. And as you can see, it reads the library Mendeley, right? Yeah, and we have just imported Mendeley to Zotero and Zotero to Mendeley, which is something really flexible between the softwares. And as you can see, I think, I'm not sure if you changed your mind about the software that you are going to use. We have seen both benefits, similarities, differences, how to add in both. So Just before I end, I might have forgot to talk about the tags, which is something I can see here. So the tags are automatically either detected by the software or even created, whether it's Zotero or Mendeley. But since now we are in Zotero, we can clearly see that maybe for myself, maybe I was working on acetylcholine. So if you click on this, it will show you the paper that maybe has been on acetylcholine. If you're working on GABA, it will show you the papers that has been maybe detected by GABA. So this is very flexible and maybe creating specific tags for your papers. But personally, I would maybe choose to organize my publications in folders rather than tags, because personally, I find it maybe easier to just put a set of publications as in a specific folder. So what I wanted to show you now is CGS requirements for the references. So I just need to maybe go back to our template and quickly, before we take the question and answers, probably you have few questions. So I'll just go to the our template. Yes, it's here. Whether it's master's or PhD, it's the same. So I'll go back to, I think we have already talked about this template in the last week. So what I want to talk about here is the formatting. So as I mentioned earlier in the presentation, these are software. So at the end, they will have some limitations. So please, once you add your like a list of references using whether it's Zotero or Mendeley, please make sure that you just quickly go through the references and make sure that it is consistent, right? So hopefully when you're using the same software, it will be consistent, but for some reasons, one of the most common issues we get is maybe some spaces between the volume and the issue, some spaces maybe between the brackets and the number itself, inconsistent, hyphens between the page numbers, some references with page numbers and some with no page numbers at all. The links maybe are hyperlinked or some of them are not hyperlinked. So this is something that we look at while we are reviewing. So as you can see here, I just want to quickly go through some of the references. We can see that this is a journal article. Obviously, in the APA style, if you're using an IEEE, it will look a little bit different. It has the author names here, their last names followed by the initial, followed by the year, followed by the title of the article, then the journal article, of course, in italic, the volume, the issue, and the page range. So any journal article in your list should look like this. I know that maybe you're using from different journals, maybe some of them are outdated, so the software cannot detect it. So what I recommend is going back to your software, clicking on the reference and editing the information. If you have any information that you want to edit, you can just change maybe the page range if it is not detecting it, or maybe the volume if it's not detecting it, and you can see it in the paper itself. This is very important. It's not extra work, trust me. Like personally, I've used Zotero and it took only maybe 5 minutes to just quickly go through the references and make sure that they are consistent. So I'm not scaring you, just telling you that this is something that we recommend you to do. It's not an extra work, don't worry. And trust me that if you're using manual referencing, that will be the extra work to either edit them or add them. Another thing is the book. So for the books, we require, of course, the author name, the year, and what is mostly required is the publisher. So every book will have a publisher. So please make sure that once you add your references, the publisher is there. Sometimes you also have a chapter in a book. And if you notice here in our template, we try to put different options. So in the chapter in the book, of course, you have to have the word in to indicate that it's in the book. You can have the page range, but this is optional, and also the publisher. So these are present in both chapter in a book or even the book. I think here we should also have, we should have the online links, which is basically maybe from, let's say, a newspaper or something that you read on the internet and you want to add it. I think in physics, I think also they have some links maybe for the websites. So that I have seen a lot of links in physics thesis. So you just need to have the retrieved date and followed by the link, and preferably not in any color other than black. So it should look exactly like this. And if you also add it using Zotero, it should detect it the way it is, but maybe the wordings will be different, but that should be fine. So these are the main ones. I think the last one here is the thesis and dissertation. So you have two options for the thesis and dissertation. If you are getting it from maybe online, it will be from the ProQuest, and it will probably be an e-thesis. So you should also have the date accessed, because the date for any online links is important. But if you are using the maybe getting a PDF of the thesis and importing it in the software as we should, you should write the university, but there is no need, the university name, of course, the city and the country, but maybe there is no need for the link. So I think I have tried to also cover this part here. We usually didn't cover this part in this workshop, but I tried to, cross over, because I believe most of the attendees here are doing it for their thesis and dissertation. So I tried to just speak a little bit at the end about the CGS requirements. I think we have about 15 minutes for the questions. So if there is any questions, there is anything that we want to illustrate or stress more about, we can quickly do that. Thank you a lot for listening.